Hello everyone and welcome back to the Ember BTC channel. Today's video will be an altcoin market update video. We'll take a look at some majors like ETH and Sol and then some of your suggestions. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So starting off with Ethereum, since the last market update video, I think we were in and around this region last Tuesday before we pushed up through this grey zone, which is just a nice lower time frame key SNR zone within the higher time frame range, similar to the key SNR zone we have in this region, which is continuously acting as resistance on numerous different occasions and being significant pivot points, such as, of course, the original instance, then this instance where we created the all-time high and SFP the previous all-time high. This rejection here, similar to this underside retest over here, and then again, so this area here has become a key SNR zone. So now that we have rejected in this area, I would say we are starting to come into a nice confluence zone in this region between 4k 300 and 4k 100. You can say 4k 100, so this kind of wider region where I might start to look to ladder in to a position of some kind, just given that it's a nice confluence area for some sort of reaction given the point of control on the fixed ranged volume profile, the value area low in nice conjunction with this lower time frame key SNR zone. So you have, say, these two resistance and then this base for the consolidation here where we find so much support. We broke up through it, so we're starting to come back into it to look for that retest. We of course can dip through it or wick through it, and I might continue to add into positions all the way down to range of lows, so this kind of 4k 60 level, looking for even just a move to start taking profits, say in around this region initially, if we do bounce here, because this could potentially be a first area for trouble. If we're able to push up, of course, then this area, as historically is proven, is significant resistance. And of course, buys in this region do depend on what BTC is doing. So, and that goes for all altcoins in this video, that yes, they do have areas that are really clean, but if BTC decides that it's going to go negative 10% today, well then all these areas aren't as pretty anymore. So for ETH, I'll look to ladder in here and say we were to bounce here and get a nice maybe scalp short in this region. That is also something I might consider. So moving on to Solana. Solana got into this region at about 235, where, I mean, I remember when we initially broke down here saying that this area was going to be trouble at some point, whether we return to it in that moment or whether we return to it a couple of weeks later. And here we are, we've got up into it, a couple of stabs up into it, kind of quite weak. We can see we're just SFPing the previous high, no real strong momentum, broke down through. So we broke below this low, so we've broke structure. We're in this key SNR zone, which is a nice region to look for buys, given that we have, of course, resistance, kind of had a flip here on the lower time frames when we did break up through, if you were to drop down, and then we were struggling here, drop down through, bearish on the side retest, then we got another bearish retest here, and then of course broke up through with momentum. We had this initial bounce, and if I just clean up the charts, we had this initial bounce, but then we are finding resistance in this region and may make our way down to claim this low. But similar to Ethereum, I think this region is a nice enough region to look for some sort of long trade on Solana, and of course with some caution. So I found myself getting a lot of requests for Link when I asked for suggestions, so I thought it was a coin worth doing, given it's not exactly a shitcoin and there was some interest, and just to mix things up from our usual cycle of tokens. So we have this first, I'd say, higher time frame KSNR zone on the daily time frame, and then another region in and around this area where you can see that we broke up through it, kind of had this long accumulation phase after this distribution phase, and then of course broke down through, bearish on the side retest, long drawn out accumulation phase, had this initial rally, found resistance in around this higher time frame KSNR zone, slight retracement back into this lower time frame KSNR zone. You can see within the accumulation, if I extend, you have resistance, resistance, initial support, drop down, bearish retest. Sure, there was a lower time frame flipping in this daily candle. We can see the wick down, resistance, and then this real strong claim here before this push up, found resistance here. Now we are back in that area. So of course this would have been a really nice entry, and if we drop down to the 4-hour time frame, we can see that it's trying to hold this region, which, given the numerous attempts and the weakness of each of these attempts, I'm not sure. It probably is a good area for low leverage trades or just spot buys. And of course, if we were to lose this this KSNR zone here, of course that would be your trigger to, I guess, get out. So you'd have to manage risk accordingly on this one, or even wait for additional confirmation, which probably would have been in this instance here, where you kind of see price react in that region, get your break structure, and then enter maybe on a retracement. But of course that wouldn't have worked out, as you can see clearly. So maybe waiting for this region here in this KSNR zone for another tag might not be bad. Or if we are able to break up and BTC is on side, then it might be worth looking for a trade back towards this $26 region. And now just to take a quick look at hype. Hype is very much a level to level play. We have this higher time frame KSNR zone where of course had a sharp drop through. We've come up. Now we've got this bearish underside retest. And similar to when we were in this region last time, I don't see any point in looking for buys in any other level rather than this 42 level. Looking to just play the range until proven otherwise. And we'll finish on Pump, given that it's a token we've been right on a lot since it launched. We had this region we were watching in the previous market update video, where we were looking for this retracement into this lower time frame KSNR zone. We got it, we pushed up, we anticipated that we would get some sort of resistance in this region, and if BTC behaved, we were hoping to maybe flip this previous all-time high over here. We didn't. We dropped down through, kind of got this underside bearish retest on this retracement, and then we've had bearish order flow, and we're back down in and around this region now. So we may see some support being found in this region, but we may even come down, take out this low as an SFP into this higher time frame KSNR zone. Something like this. But a lot of these alts are putting in lower highs, and they're starting to form this sort of shape, which is quite a common theme I've seen in a lot of the alts today, putting in the lower highs, which isn't necessarily a good thing. You want to see, can alts start to find some support in these regions and not take out, say, if we were to get a close below this low here, things do start to look a little bit more concerning, and maybe we end up heading back down to range lows. So that's all for today's market update video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment on what your thoughts on the market are and what altcoins you're currently watching. And I'll see you guys in the next one.